Senior Minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Rev, do your thing.
Good morning, everybody. It's great seeing some regulars and some folks we haven't seen in a while. It's great having everyone here this morning. Good morning and blessings to all. So today, very similarly to last week, there are going to be some changes to what I was originally going to talk about. But let's jump into this huge paragraph. Every new journey we choose to embark on is filled with excitement and anticipation. And there may also be feelings of hesitation. This paradoxical state could be called a bless-itation, a combination of blessings and hesitations. As we live forward, we discover not only the particular blessings and our hesitations, we also discover that we have the opportunity to recognize the power of blessings. Whatever is before us and or triggering us, greeting it with curiosity, transparency, authenticity, and righteousness. What gifts are available to be discovered by what gifts are available to be discovered by you during moments of bless-itation? So, this paradoxical state, blessing and hesitation. Well, if we're really going to discuss like this idea of blessings and hesitations, then we have to be sort of clear on, well, what is a blessing and what does it mean for there to be hesitation? So because y'all know I love words, let's look at some other meanings for hesitation. Pigeon number 2 says vacillation, hesitancy, reluctance, doubt, uncertainty, indecision. These are some of the other words that are very close to and similar to this idea of hesitation. Because if we're going to get clear on, well, if we're having blessings, but we're hesitating, then it serves us to know in a more clear and direct manner what is causing the hesitation. Because there's one thing to doubt, and that's the reason for my hesitation. But there's another reason. Well, I'm not very good on making a definitive choice. I'm always, because once you choose, you've chosen. So it's, do I want the salad or do I want the sandwich? But the sandwich, but the salad, the last time, could you just choose? Just pick one. But it's such a difficult choice. So in our hesitancy, it's very good to know, is it because of doubt? I'm uncertain about something, or I believe that something may not be true, or it may be unlikely. Like I doubt that Tracy's going to cut the grass today. She probably is. She's hesitating. She's laughing at me right now. To have no confidence in someone or something. Could that be what the hesitation is? Or is it simply the act of pausing, delaying, waiting? before saying or doing something? Or is it the inability to decide between different options or actions, indecision? If we're going to really dive in, then it benefits us to know exactly what is the energy that is causing the hesitation, which means sitting with ourselves and doing that introspective work. Science of Mind says, the one encompasses and flows through all, spilling itself into numberless forms and personalities. So the all that is all that is. So if it's all that is, and it's everywhere and everything, then let's ask this question. Which one do we choose to do? Do we choose to count our blessings? Count your blessings. Because oftentimes when we're counting blessings, we're seeing them as something other than us, versus the greatest gift of all is to become the blessing. Now I can count them. I have great family, great friends, great food, great stuff, great. It's all good. I'm counting my blessings. But what changes when I become the blessing? When I recognize that God is all there is and it is everywhere, then if I'm counting my blessings, then what doesn't get counted to a certain degree? I mean, in essence, I could be counting all day, every day, all the good. I love the gray on the wall. That's a blessing. I love the Buddha behind me. That's a blessing. I love the prayer flags. That's a blessing. I love the bonsai tree. That's a blessing. I love the candles. That's a blessing. I love all of you. That's a blessing. And if I count each one of you, then that's all 29 of you. Like, when does the counting cease? But the moment I have become the blessing, then I am open to and I avail myself, just like breath. I don't know how many times I've inhaled this morning because I wasn't counting them. I was allowing it to be. And the moment we allow the blessing that we are as spirit to be, then everything becomes recognized as the blessing, as a blessing. Science of Mind also says there is a universal mind, spirit, intelligence. That is the origin of everything. It is first cause. It is God. So once again, this first cause, this originating force or power that is all there is causing, because it's all there is, it is causing everything that is in our minds and our hearts. Like, it is, because if we have one mind, if there is one mind, and what I think, I am using this exact same power, this universal mind, then I am using this universal mind to either bring blessings, because in the same way, I can be a blessing or I can be a curse. I can be the very person that shows up in your house that you're like, look, dude, you got to go. Well, Maya Angelou said, when someone's in her home, she would not allow that. You don't use those words in my home, because words have power and they sink into the carpet and into the walls and into the paint and into the wallpaper. You will not flood my home with such energy. So we know that there are people that were like, no, go somewhere else with that. So we can be a blessing or we can be a curse. And yet, either or, both and, are still using the same power and principle. Because if I'm thinking damnation, and I'm thinking evil, and I'm thinking hurt, kill, that's what I'm thinking, then those thoughts create a certain energy, and that certain energy creates a certain action. But I'm still using the same power and principle that the Dalai Lama is using, that Peace Pilgrim is using, that anybody and everybody who is walking this path of spiritual awakening is using. There are not two separate powers. There's only one. Which one Which choosing of this power are we choosing? Which one, blessings or curses? If we're going to use the same power, which method, which path are we going to choose to use it to create more of, to be in alignment with, to sow greater seeds of? Albert Einstein said there are two ways to live our lives. One, as though nothing is a miracle, or the other is as though everything is a miracle. Well, it's very similar to what I just said about the blessing or the curse, but let's pause for a second and breathe. Because we have to ask ourselves, which way do I live? Do I live as if nothing is a miracle, or as if everything is a miracle? Or do I somehow vacillate between the two, that some things are miracles and other things aren't? Now, yes, let us be very clear that when we are talking about genocide, that is not a miracle. When we are talking about police brutality and badge sanctioned murder, that is not a blessing nor a miracle. Let us be clear. Racism is not. Sexism is not. We are not claiming that this illness and disease of racism, sexism, xenophobia, autism, etc. We are not claiming that we are supposed to now say, oh, it's all good and it's all God. No, because in this realm of the flesh, we do experience things that we call bad, wrong, evil, injustice. What is ours to do regarding it? Therein lies the miracle. What is our choosing to change and shift it? Therein lies the blessing. Because if I do not feel well and I go to the doctor, then the doctor who uses their techniques and technologies to help my body restore itself to health and wholeness, therein lies, now she has become a blessing unto me. I can see the miracle of her intelligence and knowledge and skill as she tends to my body's needs. So let's be clear. This is not spiritual bypass nor spiritual malpractice. This is spiritual stewardship and accountability. Science of Mind says the life which we live is the universal life expressing through us. Otherwise, how could we even live? So this one God, source, spirit, whatever we are calling it, the Tao, which has many names, it is what is living itself as us. And we get to choose the quality of that life. And when we see someone else who is not able to, there's a guy, he's not eating. Now, do I give him a fish and walk away, knowing that if you give him a fish, he eats for a day? Or do I use what I know as the teaching and technology of science of mind and spirit and teach him how to change his or her or their mental equivalent, that they now know how to fish for the rest of their lives? And when I say fish, for those of you, my vegan brothers, sisters, and non-gender conforming siblings, when I say fish, I am saying to cast into the great mystery of life, that they are then able to reap whatever it is they are choosing to, by their deserving and desiring. What are they choosing to experience? But if I simply look at them, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have food. Oh, maybe you should get a job. Oh, you don't have, maybe you should pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Oh, you don't have, or, oh, poor them, they live in that neighborhood, or, oh, poor such and such. What am I doing? Am I not part of the problem then, because I am looking at them as though they are other rather than they are how many times have you heard me say, no, I am not my brother's keeper, nor am I my sister's keeper, nor am I my gender non-conforming siblings' keeper. I am them. And if I am able to look at them in their whatever condition it is and simply turn away from it and ignore, that's their problem, not mine, then that is spiritual immaturity. If we are going to create a world that works for all, then some level, some way, we are called to treat and move our feet, because the exact same universal life, which is living, moving, and having its beingness as me, is the same universal life, living, moving, and having its beingness as Tracy, as that homeless vet, as this person who doesn't know the difference between a taser and a gun, still one universal life. The person who is experiencing cancer, same universal life. The person who wants to build a wall, same universal life. What is mine to do to reconcile this anger that I feel because it's easy to want to other them. It's easy to feel helpless and hopeless, like, what am I supposed to do with the hungry in the world? What am I supposed to do when there is war in the Middle East? It's too big of a problem for me. Do you know how to pray? Meditate. Join discussion groups. Write your congressmen and senators. Speak up. And then when and if you are called to, then act up. There is only one universal life. And if it is all there is, and we want a world that works for all, then we are all called to engage the one universal life that is expressing itself in, through, and as all that is. Otherwise, how could we even live? So pause and breathe. Miracles. We talk about them. Oh, that was such a miracle. They couldn't walk and now they can. They were blind and yet they see. Such and such. It's a miracle. The doctor said they weren't going to live. It's a miracle. My father was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. Should have only lived 2 to 4 years, and he outlived 3 of the doctors that told him he should be dead. It's a miracle. But is it a miracle? Well, I mean, I guess that depends on how we're defining a miracle. Because maybe a miracle simply means moments in reality, acting consciously, living, and embodying spirit. If that's the case, then everything, every moment has the seed of a miracle. Every instance, every experience, somewhere in there is the opportunity to expand into a choosing that this moment is divine. Miracles are not magical, unexpected, rare occurrences. Not if God is all there is. If God is all there is, then it is present everywhere all the time. If source is all there is, then everything we call a miracle, a blessing, is just that. Everything is a miracle and a blessing. It is a choice to see God in, through, and as all. It is a choice to embody love, life, source, as it incarnates in, through, and as us. Electricity is a miracle and a blessing. Feeling a breeze is a miracle and a blessing. As Sue said this morning during the pre-service meditation, coffee, tea, whatever that is it is a blessing and a miracle. Because I didn't go out and find coffee beans and grind them up and drink them. Juan Valdez did, or somebody did that. I just said, well, you know why. So I'm grateful that he said, let me go out here. What is this little bean? Oh, it smells good. Let me dice it up, and that's not good as puree. Let me chop it up and fry it. Not good as a sandwich. Let me put it through this, and oh, this is delicious. That's a miracle and a blessing. Everything around us, it is all God. But what determines it as a blessing or a miracle is our choosing. Books, bikes, bathrooms, all of it. Laughter, tears, hugs, all of it. Are we willing and able to find the blessing and the miracles that are occurring in our life experience? When life happens and we are surrounded by piles of sugar, honey, iced tea, wink, wink. When we are surrounded, Tracy's laughing at me right now. When we are surrounded by this, are we able to say, look, if all of this shit is here, then clearly there's a pony somewhere. Let me find my pony. Because Ernest Holmes said, what you are looking for is what you are looking with. So if I am looking for a miracle, I am looking for a blessing, I am looking for the good, then the good is what you are looking with. Love is what you are looking with. God is what you are looking with. Remember, we've talked about this idea of, do you have faith in God or the faith of God? Do you have faith as God would have faith? Same thing. Do you love as God loves? Do you bless as God blesses? Do you live, move, and have your beingness as God lives, moves, and is being all that is? Because when we look around and we're going to see shit happen. We're going to see it. Let's be honest. But we can also choose to see ways for it to never happen again. We can see ways. We've served the vets at the Baltimore station. Now, the Baltimore station is not a permanent housing situation. It is not a permanent place of residency and treatment. It is a temporary way station where they are doing the work to help these veterans get back up and in a state of, once again, health and well-being, that they are then able to go out into the world and once again be productive and active members of society, no longer bound by addiction, no longer oppressed by PTSD, no longer victims of whatever. Baltimore Station is pouring into their lives. We serve them dinner, pouring into their lives. Fellowship with them, pouring into their lives, knowing that what we are looking for, their health and well-being, is what we are looking with. Because the moment we are able to acknowledge health and well-being and see it for another, then that means somewhere that is what we are seeing with, or we wouldn't be able to see it at all. You can't look for a pony if you don't have a concept of pony. You can't look for a blessing if you don't have the concept of blessing in your consciousness. You can't find a miracle if you don't have the miraculous as a state of consciousness. But how often do we ground and anchor into that awareness? Thomas Troward says, the whole problem of life consists in finding the true relation of the individual to the universal originating spirit. In other words, the moment we recognize that there is only God and what it is we are, things change. The catalyst occurs. But for as long as we think there's the individual I or me and the individual separate that which is God, spirit, source, then there's going to be some form of conflict, some form of doubt, some form of hesitation, because it's either or. Either I'm human and whatever, suffer. I'm a sinner since birth, doomed to an eternity in hell. How could I be anything other than? And so I vacillate with all of the things that are wrong with me, with all of the issues and problems and pains and things. How could I possibly also be made in the image and likeness of love itself? That every cell is God. My thoughts, God. My words, God. This breath, God breathing itself. But the moment we find the true relation that there is only one, we both and. We are human and we are divine spirit. We are whoever we are and we are God incarnating itself as us. Not either or, both and. Then we change the quality of our living. John Hyder said, all power derives from conscious or unconscious cooperation with spirit. All power derives from conscious or unconscious cooperation. Well, if that's the case, then which one outweighs the other? Are we equally yoked or unequally yoked between blessings and hesitations? Which one are we focusing on, unconsciously and or consciously? Because one is going to outweigh the other. But the moment we breathe and anchor in, then we start to think differently, because Henry Ford said, if you say you can or you can't, you are right either way. Richard Bach said, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours. We are unequally yoked when we are doing this, because we are saying one thing: I want to be free, I want to be happy, I want to be loved. But am I good enough? But am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Am I qualified enough? Am I enough? Plain and simple. But it is possible to balance this and come to a state of homeostasis, living with the Tao, yin yang in balance. Joel Goldsmith said, keep the word of God alive in your mind. Keep the concept of, keep the awareness of God alive in your mind, in your thoughts, and in your experience, and you will never know lack or limitation. Now, we could argue, but really? But let's say it this way. When we speak, act, move, live, and have our beingness from this awareness of the truth of our being as God, then do we not also acknowledge that even when I am now hungry and or homeless and or whatever that is, I also now know that this is not the truth of my being, nor is it a permanent state of being, because I am able, through this awareness, through knowing the power of thought, the power of the law of mind and action, that I am now then able to change my external circumstances. So when lack or limitation shows up, physically, there's a pain, there's a something, there's a diagnosis. I hear you, but I am not focusing on that as the truth of my being. It is an experience. But this experience does not mean that I lack any. Some people have 100% of God. Some people have 90% of God. Me, with this pain in my neck and pain in my, and all this other stuff that's going on, I'm running on 2 cylinders, so I have about 12% God. No. No matter what the external circumstance or situation, each and every one is 100% divine, filled with the exact same abundance and opulence of the stars in the heavens and the sands on every beach and every desert on the face of this planet, far more numerous than we could ever count. When we know and keep the word of God in our minds, in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our being, then we change and recognize this external experience and condition can be changed. Then we are moving and living in balance. Then we recognize the blessing of and the miracle in all that is. This week's invitation to explore: where in my life can I identify blessings? Just be mindful. Like, can you come up with 10 today? And 10 different ones tomorrow? And 10 different ones Tuesday? Where in my life can I identify blessings? Where in my life is the evidence of hesitation and doubt and indecision or vacillation? Where can I identify, yeah, I was straddling the fence on that one. Yeah, I was lukewarm on that one. Matter of fact, I think I'm still lukewarm. I don't think I've made a decision. Wow, it's been 27 years and I still have not definitively decided to be lukewarm, to be hot or to be cold. Why, Tracy? Why? Why can't I make up my mind? I don't know what I want to eat. Tracy said I sound like her, if y'all didn't hear her. But no, seriously, where in my life is the evidence of? any of that. What is one shift that I can make this week to balance the scales of awareness and action in my life to embody the blessing of miracles? Where can I embody awareness and action to not only identify, but to be that which we are calling miracles? And then lastly, have a conversation with tres personas, with 3 people, about feeling doubt, feeling hesitancy, as well as feeling or receiving blessings. Chat with folks about it, because conversation is a spiritual practice. And simply by having this dialogue, this divine discourse, we find things within ourselves through conversation like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that until I heard myself say it out loud. Wow. Hold on, let me think about that, right? So engage these practices and notice what shifts. This week's declaration or affirmation, Sue mentioned it in the pre-service meditation. I will read it first, and then together we will declare it. Everything in my life is a welcomed realization of spirit. Together, everything in my life is a welcomed realization of spirit. Let us close out with our benediction of service, recognizing that the infinite all that is present in, through, and as each and every one. That the ineffable, that which is beyond names, that which is beyond labels and categories and quantifications, that the allness of God is showing itself as this face and the face of all, as these hands and the hands of all, as this heart and the heart of all, as this being and the beingness of all. Recognizing that the infinite blessings and miracles of this infinite spirit are eternally present. And simply by the recognition that says, this is, and it is so. This is, and it is so. I live, move, and have my beingness as a very demonstration of the miraculous, the beneficial, the blessings. And knowing this, why would I hesitate? I leap and allow faith, the very verb of faith, to move me as I live forward, recognizing love. Knowing this, I surrendered into the law that always says yes. And knowing that it says yes, I know this treatment. And I know that what Sue prayed in the pre-service and the invocation, I know that the consciousness of the practitioners and every member of this beloved community, I know that that consciousness is what drives this community. And it is good and oh so good as we reap the benefits of a world that works for all. It is done, it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Much love to you all. Chat with you soon.